Hello fellow critics, welcome back to the alley. It's that time of year again. The air is crisp, the nights are longer, and the yearly harvests are coming to fruition. That's right, it's Halloween season. For those who didn't know, Halloween starts in September and goes straight on through to the new year, swallowing the other holidays in its joyous maw. The lights don't go away in December, they just change colors. For some people, it never ends. Halloween can be a way of life. Speaking of harvest, I had no idea what a huge fan of cannabis Jason Voorhees is. A fanabis, if you will. Give it a second to set in. I know, he wasn't the first person on my list to join the circle either. He was number 5, but clearly he's up to number 3 now. My theory is he's not a violent lunatic at all, but a simple, angry farmer using his tools to defend what is rightfully his. Bunch of ornery kids trespassing onto his land, breaking stuff and trying to steal his precious grain. People have been killed for less by sane people. I know, many of you are laughing and typing how dead dudes don't need reefer in the comments section. But remember, this ain't your father's Jason. This ain't no Jason Waterfalls. From what the story seems to tell us, he didn't die that day because he was a kid. Dead kids don't grow up. Which sounds like the worst vampire nursery rhyme ever. That's why we have so many scary ghost children spooking about. After the first gruesome death, we jump to present day, which, if it came out in 2009, makes Jason roughly in his 40s. We join the gang talking about...
Hey. Do you know how much money we're gonna make selling this weed?
Exhibit A, they came to take his green. Aside from the fun comment about being able to consume human liquid waste and a bunch of colorful death scenes, the first group doesn't really offer us much. Yeah, that's right, the first group. Jason don't even show up until dude is digging around in his garden. Then he takes out 4 out of 5 of them. Girl named Whitney lives. On to a month and a half later when a second group of jerks rolls into a gas station behind this dude who's looking for his sister. Spoilers, it's Whitney. Whitney's his sister. Dude's name is Clay. Jerks roll to their private cabin and we follow Clay on his quest to wander onto people's property and hand out flyers. The first lady that he runs into tells him plain as day that what he's doing is dangerous. Cause in her words,
outsiders come, they don't know where to walk. They bring trouble. They just won't be left alone. And so does he.
And that is 100% true. Doofus Squad mostly seems irrelevant until... Exhibit B, the smoking gun. This implicates the gang of ne'er-do-wells to be a potential threat to Jason's high-time activities. We can't have that now, can we? Okay, here's something you don't do. For obvious reasons.
Came about that close to hitting the start button on a whoop-ass machine, boy.
And that's just being nice, dude. The way a lot of people see it.
This is Mr. Garrick's property. You're lucky that old mummy fart didn't come out here and put buckshots in your ass.
Exactly. Before Clay can get out of there, Dude Bro tries to sell him some weed that he found. Huge red flag for Dude. Stealing a crazed machete-wielding man's kush puts you on a short list. Probably shouldn't steal anything from infamous shutaways. No one, just don't steal anything. It's a bad habit. After a bit more nonsense, Clay catches up with the gang of jerks. One of them is cool and she sympathizes with Clay and continues to hang out with him. Her name is Jenna. In the circle of jerks, she's the least jerk circulating. As those two leave, we catch up with this guy. We watch his last few moments of debauchery before he's cut clean open by the Purple Haze Avenger. In the middle of talking dirty to a mannequin.
It's been a long time, Gina. You remember that special night we had? Remember when you took my virginity?
Yeah, this movie captures modern day America. He kills 2 of the group before the main characters encounter him, bringing his kill count to 7. Jason finds Clay's bag and brings it down into his hobbit hole with him. Whitney sneaks into it and finds a flyer with a face on it and knows Clay's looking for her. Apparently only one family member cares. And we get a brief glimpse of how Jason interacts with Whitney while he's down there, which is only relevant because it shows his humanity. There's a heart in there. The terrified twosome of Clay and Jenna return to the cabin right as the young adult shenanigans are reaching their crescendo. Unable to rally the whole group properly, Jason picks off the stray and the one who comes out to save him, all while everybody surviving in the cabin just listens. Just, you know. Rich boy whose parents own the cabin runs off to find a gun. Nameless girl C chases after him to try to find him and gets lost herself because, of course, nobody in this film understands basic horror movie tactics. You don't split up, when the killer's picking you off. Jason kills nameless girl C right as the cop they called about 20 minutes ago finally arrives. Poor guy gets 2 lines before getting got, bringing Jason's kill count to 11. Wrong place, wrong time, dude. Because what do most people assume cops are gonna do when they find your crop? Seize it. That's right. Making the poor officer an unintended threat towards Jason's budskis. Everybody sees this happen and they go running because once again, no tactics. Rich Jerk drops his gun in the creek because he comes scrambling out to almost get hit by a car right before this really, really cool death scene. Check this out. Who needs Uber? The surviving team of Clay and Jenna magically find their way to the place where Whitney is being held and manage to free her just as Jason is arriving, because of course they do. This movie definitely ran out of time for coherent plot connections. Hope all the angst and topless scenes were worth it, Michael Bay. Most men sitting on their couches? Yes. Yes, they were. Yes, quite. Robble. Reaches for tissues off camera. Before they can escape, though, the ghost of Wayne Gretzky gives Jenna the good old hokey pokey. He puts the whole blade in, he takes the whole blade out, bringing the masked menace to 13, a baker's dozen of bodies. A Cannibal Cook's buffet! They escape the tunnel through an old sideways bus. That's right, an underground tunnel has a bus for an exit. That is some excellent land management. Like, did he move the bus onto the hole? Or measure it? Dig 2 holes, meet in the middle. The final confrontation is in an old shop with a wood chipper. Whitney calls out to him, distracting him just long enough for Clay to get the chain around his neck and the other end into the wood chipper, where he's slowly and methodically dragged in as he fights it until Jenna stabs him right through the tummy with his own machete. They drop him and his effects into Crystal Lake and breathe a sigh of victorious relief when he pops out and gets his hugs! Cause that's all he wanted. A hug from the only person that he kept around as a smoking buddy. It's all he needed. At the end of the day, Jason was just a lonely stoner trying to protect his land and manage his personal ailments, likely by utilizing the medicinal benefits of his crop, which is known to help people with severe conditions. As we all know, Jason is canonically disfigured, some iterations he's a bit slow, quick to anger, and has dysmorphia from being bullied. All of these ailments are things that a doctor might write a medical prescription for. So it wouldn't be hard to imagine that a doctor might experiment with medicinal marijuana in the 80s. Considering that, although the Controlled Substance Act of the 1970s did put federal restrictions on it, there were increasing testimonials of its use medicinally with people who were battling cancer and AIDS, which was blowing up at the time. Good chance he used it to combat his issues as a child and continued to self-medicate as he grew. Or maybe an angry, rebellious teenage Jason found a stash on one of his victims. And from that day forward, he was in love. Can you imagine teen Jason smoking out back behind the counselor's building like a straight G? The thing we do know watching this movie is that Jason only killed people who took his crop, intended on taking it, or posed a threat to him losing it. That's what we, the audience, saw with our own 2 eyes. So next time you plan to be a midnight toker in the great outdoors, load a bowl for Jason. Critically yours, The Fox.